Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we are live for another edition of NASCAR 06 Total Team Control, and this week for you guys we have a NASCAR Busch Series race at the Michigan International Speedway, and it is for the running of the... wait for the title sponsor again. Come on, scroll through. The Michigan 250. That was pretty easy enough. That's what I thought it was, but it didn't seem right because usually there's an actual sponsor to the race. But in this case, there isn't, and needless to say, we're going to get into this one. As you see in the thumbnail, we do have a chance to clinch the championship today. And also, I think my screen is lagging. I could be wrong on that. We'll find out in a little bit, I guess, if it is or not. But needless to say, though, yeah, we're going to get into this one. Be sure to hit... not the greatest intro, but be sure to hit the like button, subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. We're about to get into tonight's full race, realistic commentary coverage, and chance to clinch the championship. It's pretty self-explanatory. If Kyle Busch can win the race, lead the most laps, and Clint Bowyer finishes third or worst, we will end up winning the championship today. But if he finishes second, no matter how many laps we lead or win the race, he still has a shot at the title going into the next race at Watkins Glen next week. And then also, if he ends up leading any laps, then he could actually finish a little bit further behind. So if he leads one lap and we still go on to win the race, he'll get 5 bonus points. So he would have to finish fourth or worse. If he leads the most laps and we win the race, then we would have to have him finish 5th or worse. So we're going to need a little bit of help, and we're going to have to win. Not great for ourselves, qualified 11th in this race. I tried to tighten the car up just a little bit more going into the race. It was a little bit too loose in practice, so hopefully everything is going to pan out pretty well for ourselves in traffic. Green flag is going to be in the air. We're underway at Michigan, my home track. 125 laps, 250 miles, the scheduled distance for today's race. Busch Series is racing at Michigan. Not the greatest start here for Kyle Busch. Kind of clipped the apron on the opening start. Lifted when he was supposed to stay in the gas and keep up the speed. Three wide action going on the back straightaway right now, but not a great start for Kyle Busch. Trying to get through, not making any contact, make it through this opening set of laps. Restarts very wild here at the Michigan International Speedway. And the draft is going to be of a huge importance in this race as well. Cars One Boy, Wade Selinsky, thanks for tuning into the stream. Thanks for being the first down in the chat tonight. Busch going to have to be patient. Again, got to think big picture. Even if you can't clinch the championship up today, you have to assume that you're going to have a good chance to do it going forward. Aaron Crocker in the 6th car, leading that opening lap of the race. Trying to lead lap 2. 4 wide in the middle of turns 3 and 4 for about 4th place. Bowyer in the middle of it. And Vickers also was on that very outside line at first before all 3 cars underneath him were able to clear him. Slendy 7003, thanks for tuning in also. Gotta say, that was a wild moment. Wasn't expecting to see 4 wide this early in the race up there. Kyle Busch trying to figure out a way to get around Kenny Wallace in this 22 car right now. Very treacherous racetrack. This is actually one of my worst intermediate tracks on this game across all 3 series. I've won some cup races here, but for some reason the Busch and the Truck Series I tend to struggle. Trying to keep it really low off the exit of turn number 4. Decides to just draft behind the 22 of Kenny Wallace to pick up the spots from the cars that are on the outside of some of those generated drivers, fantasy drivers. And that allows Busch to move himself back into 12th. So he fell back to 15th after the opening lap. Tony Stewart leads this race in the 33 Old Spice Chevrolet right now. Big run for Busch. And really tight going into turns 3 and 4 that time. You just have to hope that long run stability is going to be there if you're Kyle Busch. Because it was loose in qualifying. Like I said, I had to tighten it up just a little bit, put a little extra downforce. I knew that was going to cost us on the straightaway, so that's why we really need to have somebody to draft off of in front of us. It's going to be very tough for ourselves to pass the leader in this race. Track position is huge, although we've seen a couple lead changes already at the front with Aaron Crocker and Tony Stewart leading laps. Goes to the outside of the 116. Backs off of it pretty early going into turns 3 and 4 that time. And pole sitter Brian Vickers has fallen way back already to 9th. He still has an outside shot at the championship coming into this race today. He'll likely be eliminated from contention, though. He'd literally have to win every race from now to the end of the season, and Kyle Busch would end up having to finish last every race. That's the only chance Brian Vickers mathematically has of a championship in these final 5 races, so not looking very likely for him. 3 wide goes Busch down to the bottom. Kenny Wallace was aggressively side drafted in the 116, and the front stretch, and now they get together off turn 2 as well. Contact is made. The fantasy car goes all the way down towards the inside of the racetrack, but we stay green, and that moves Kyle Busch in the top 10 for the first time in the race on lap 6. NASCAR Cup Series 2311 Racing, Earl Arnold Jr., Autism Trucking LLC, also welcome into the stream. Let me know, by the way, if there's any sort of issue with it looking like the actual gameplay is lagging. OBS crashed on me probably 20 minutes before I started the stream, so it seemed like it was running pretty slow. I might have to run an update or something if it gets bad. My laptop's fine. Busch is caught up to the 83. About 1.3 seconds off the race lead. Clint Boyer just led his first lap of the day. That is not good for Kyle Busch. Forget about him finishing 3rd or worse. It looks like he is going to have to finish 4th or worse if Busch wins for Kyle Busch to clinch the championship today. Four races early to do so. A 4.8 average finish for Busch coming into this one today. Harvick's 2006 season record. It's a 4.6 average finish. If Busch can continue to get top 4 finishes, he's going to bring that average down lower and lower in these final 5 races, and he may have a shot to break that record. He's only finished outside the top 10 3 times this season. Carl Edwards going to take the race lead away into turns 1 and 2, former Busch Series Michigan winner. Yeah, I saw the Red Wings were up 2-1 at the end of one. Really wanted to go to the game Thursday night. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to go or not. Well, I will be able to go, but I haven't gotten my check from YouTube yet this month. I'm supposed to get it. I usually get it anywhere between the 20th and the 30th is when you're supposed to get it, but I usually get it no later than the 21st. Today's the 21st. I still haven't gotten it yet, so we'll I'll end up making it there. Back and forth battle for 9th right now between Kyle Busch and then the 83. On the outside, another transfer for position. Busch clear off turn 4. Also be close enough behind his teammate Brian Vickers to try to draft off of him. Clint Boyer has retaken the race lead again. A lot of lead changes in this one. Didn't think it was going to be that easy to pass the leader. Crocker's led twice, despite not qualifying on the pole. In fact, pole sitter Brian Vickers was not able to lead a lap. So we already had that lead change on lap 1. Then Stewart led, then Crocker again, then Boyer, then Edwards, then Boyer again, and now Edwards is back in the lead. It's going to be, what, 7 lead changes in 11 laps on an intermediate? Right here in Michigan, kind of a miniature super speedway in this game, the way the draft works. So Kyle Busch going to clear his teammate Brian Vickers for 8th place off turn 4, just gradually working his way through the field. Should be a 2-stop race today. Pretty easy 2-stop race at that. Boyer trying to get back to the inside of Busch. Can't quite do it in turns 1 and 2 there. Busch getting a little arrow loose off the exit of the corner. How close his teammate was to his left rear corner panel. Taking the air off the rear spoiler. Vickers over driving his race car now in entry into turn 3. got Brad Miller looking to the inside of Shane Neal for position. They're going a bit wide into turns 1 and 2. Busch trying to stay as close to the bottom as possible. Gets to the inside of Neal. 21 car's already cleared him. Like Miller thought about blocking Kyle Busch. Now he will. He's clear. A little bit better run down the straightaway. It seems to be where Kyle Busch is lacking is that straightaway speed, unless he's in the draft behind somebody. Just gets to the inside of Miller into 3 and 4. Car's handling really well, though. I'll give it that. Kyle Busch behind J.J. Yaley in the 18 for Joe Gibbs Racing. He'll be in the Cup Series in our NASCAR 06 season when we end up getting there. I think he'll be in the Busch Series too, but definitely in the Cup. Kyle Busch into the top 5 for the first time in the race. Doesn't look like Tony Stewart's in the Old Spice car in this race. It is Stewart. What paint scheme is that? Armor All? Mr. Clean? I don't know. Boyer going back for the lead again. About to be 8 lead changes if Boyer could get back out in front. Everybody in the top 4 has led at least once, and all but Stewart has led at least twice. Billy Kramer, Mark DeMars also welcome into the stream. Crocker looking to get to the inside. Tony Stewart, she may be there. Kyle Busch all the way down to the apron. Fastest lap of the day for him, 38.997. Crocker crowds Busch. Stewart rather, on the outside in turns 1 and 2. Busch clips the apron a bit. He gets into Stewart. Stewart's up into the wall. And he's going to lose a lot of track position. Tony Stewart hit pretty hard into the outside wall off turn 2. Busch is up to 4th. Busch kind of clipped the apron, he wiggled, and then hit Stewart. That straightened him back out, but fortunately Stewart loses at least 3 positions and a lot of seconds off the race lead now is Tony. Making contact with Busch and then the wall there. Oh, and now there's more contact on the front stretch. From Busch to Crocker, and now Busch is up to P3. Problem is, he's not close enough to draft off of either Carl Edwards or Clinton Boyer. The good news is they're side by side. They really get to racing each other. Maybe Busch does have a chance to catch up, but he doesn't really have a lot of single car speed. Qualified 11th. Billy Wonka, Gil Campbell, Michael Turner also welcome in. Yeah, so with Boyer already leading, I'll have to update the top of the screen when I get to the first pit stop or we get to our first caution, whatever happens first. Because getting those 5 bonus points means that he's going to have to finish 4th or worse if Busch wins. And he's in contention to lead the most laps with leading a handful of them in the early going already. Stuck at 2nd right behind Carl Edwards again, though. Seems like Busch is slowly losing those top 2, though. Long straightaways at Michigan seem to be costing Kyle Busch just a little bit. Crocker looking to the outside into turns 1 and 2. If she makes that pass on the outside lane, and she's going to, Busch got his momentum cut off when he clipped the apron again. And right back into 4th and playing defense on J.J. Yaley down into turn 3. The greatest chocolate man is here. Fictional, of course. Well, Kyle Busch back to 1.3 seconds off the lead again. And they're side by side for the lead once more. Boyer on the bottom. Edwards on the outside. Crocker and Busch going to try to stay single file now, at least till they get close enough that Busch can draft behind one of the top two. Because for right now where he's at, it's really not going to work. But Clint Boyer back out in front. Well, if you go dig in April, you'll see me there. Potentially. I mean, I will be there. That's one of the few weekends I plan on being at the track all weekend. Not just for the Cup race on Sunday. 39.195 that last lap. It's an amazing battle, though, between Carl Edwards and Clint Boyer here at Michigan. Nearly going to this Busch Series race. Handling is definitely a factor here at Michigan today. Really fast racetrack. Leads back down to about 9/10 of a second difference right now between Crocker and Busch. Behind the leaders. Busch giving her a big bump draft right on the front stretch. Hit her square, that's all that matters. You're going to do that. Have to make sure you're very careful with it. You don't turn the car in front of you. It's very easy to do with these Gen 4 cars. Edwards back out in front now on Boyer. It does seem like Boyer's not able to keep the lead as long as Edwards. Edwards kind of sacrificing that spot back up for Crocker. He gets a good run initially off the exit of the corner, but then his run stalls out on the front stretch. Hasn't really been able to get underneath or off of turn 2 yet. Again, Busch to the inside of Crocker. Just can't make the pass. Really see the lack of straightaway speed underneath the hood of this Hendrick Chevy. They never really had great luck at Michigan over the years. Slowly closing in. That's even with those two battling. Crocker and Busch haven't really transferred positions too much, back and forth once. 25 laps down, 100 laps to go already in tonight's race. Busch to the inside of Crocker in the middle of turns 1 and 2. First time in really the entire time Busch has been behind Crocker. And he got underneath of her at turns 1 and 2. The problem is, couldn't complete the pass. Halfway out of fuel at this point in the run. Again, it is a 2 pit stop race today. Without a doubt. And the 6 and the 5 catch up to the 60 and the 2. Of course, Howard pit stop's going to end up cycling everything out as well. I'd like to think Edwards has led the most laps so far, but Boyer pretty darn close to him in that laps led category. Kyle Busch hasn't led yet. But they have a chance to get up there. Really going to have to make sure that Crocker, when she gets close enough to draft behind either Boyer or Edwards, that she doesn't pull Kyle Busch, because Busch doesn't have any drafting help behind him. It sounds like one of the cars that blew an engine in the early going to the race is going to work his way back out onto the racetrack. Sounded like the 131 car. So We're going to have somebody down a cylinder. Clint Boyer with a slide job at turns 1 and 2 to take the lead back from Edwards. Top 4 within a half a second of the lead. 28 laps into this green flag run to start the race. Didn't even realize we had a car blow an engine already, but this 131 did, and now he's working his way back out onto the speedway. Less than 0.4 of a second is the difference now between the top 4. Crocker and Busch have definitely caught up. Edwards back to the inside of Boyer. They'll slow each other up just a little bit in turns 1 and 2. Edwards back to the race lead. Crocker may try to go for second. Boyer with a block on the 6. 5 going low, running out of real estate to try to make a move on Crocker for position there. And Boyer with a crossover trying to get right back underneath the 60. Edwards could get hung out of line here. Crocker going way down low. Boyer to the lead. Busch going 3 wide. Oh, had to lift. He had to lift. Because otherwise he may have wrecked. With Aaron Crocker and Carl Edwards to his outside. Just couldn't hold the bottom. Boyer slips away a little bit into turns 3 and 4 as Crocker takes over second. Busch just barely hanging on to the draft of Carl Edwards off turn 4. Trying to get back in it again. And Edwards back to the inside of Crocker. Busch gonna follow. Drafting help gonna work out. Crocker getting a little bit off of Boyer in front of these guys. And Busch and Edwards get by Crocker. Busch going for second on Edwards as well. Gets a little loose off turn 4. Stays in the throttle. Trying to side draft the 60 just a little bit. Edwards holds on. Fastest lap, by the way, by Busch. Even though he was loose off turn 4, he stayed on the throttle. 100% there off the exit of the corner. Drove right out of it. 38.977 was that last lap, and Crocker's starting to lose the top 3. Boyer back out in front. Busch to the inside of Edwards again through 3 and 4. And he is going to be able to clear Carl Edwards for position. Boyer leads this lap. Kyle Busch to second. Highest running Busch has been in these first 33 laps. Trying to really widen his arc off into turns 1 and 2 to try to beat the 2 of Boyer. Looks to the inside. There's contact. Up the track goes the 2. And Kyle Busch is going to get to the lead. He got a little loose off the exit of the corner. Goes up to block Edwards. Back down to the bottom. Boyer falls back to 4th, catching up to this slow car now into turns 3 and 4. Oh, Busch just ran right into the back of him. This costed Kyle big time there. He still holds on to the lead. Crocker actually got the second, passing Edwards in the middle of the corner. 5 bonus points for Busch, leading his first lap of the day. Another lead change, one of many so far. Busch arrow loose in the middle of the corner. Wasn't trying to go all the way down to the apron there. Crocker hanging on that rear spoiler of the 5 of Busch. It's making it difficult for him to hold on to the race lead. Edwards going for second again. Farmboy 2, thanks for tuning in. I'm doing great. Hopefully you guys are as well. Good racing so far in Michigan today. 35 laps in. Busch has now led 2 laps. Edwards to the outside. What a move to get to the lead on the top in turns 1 and 2. What a move by Carl Edwards. That's why he's in the Cup Series. And Busch is too, but what a pass. I mean, he made that cleanly too. and around the car with the clean air. Busch getting loose off turn 4. He's hanging on to it. This car is definitely starting to slip away in the long run. It's starting to feel closer and closer to what it was in qualifying. It was edgy for 2 laps, but we're trying to take this as close to the end of the field run as possible here. It is definitely a situation where you don't want a short pit if you can help it. NASCAR 21 Ignition have the next-gen cars. Yes, if you have the season update. Busch missed the corner. Have to ride that middle to upper groove. He got loose again. Crocker underneath. Busch going to hang on to second with that contact, but here comes Bowyer now. And allows Edwards to slip away a little bit. And Edwards didn't even really get through that last corner very well himself either. I think the car's loose enough already. Busch got into that outside lane and really got loose. It is a handful. Bowyer back into third. The race ended right now. Clint Bowyer would still have a shot at the championship with 4 races left. And Busch would not clinch tonight. You'd have to wait another week. Busch desperately trying to stay in the draft here behind Carl Edwards. I mean, dirty air will help tighten the car up a little bit. It won't be as loose. Oh my gosh, tightened up way too much though. Way up the track with the 5. Barely kept it off the wall. One thing Busch hasn't done, he hasn't hit the wall yet today. He's made contact with a couple cars a few times, but somehow no wrecks at these high speeds at Michigan, even with the contact we've seen. Now can he get a run on Carl Edwards with no drafting help from behind? That's where it's going to be difficult, especially with a very loose race car. He's trying. It's close. Can't keep it up down the straightaways. That's the problem. Quarter tank of gas left this point in the run. Right rear tire wearing out quite a bit. Busch got loose in the middle of the corner, had all 4 tires down on the apron that time, and now he scrapes the wall for the first time today. And here comes Clint trying to get in contention again. Kyle Busch is having an absolute handful with this race car right now. This is fast if he can hang on to it. How often does 21 Ignition get new updates? Every couple months. Not that it really fixes the game itself much, but as far as like DLCs and stuff, getting new paint schemes. They might be done with that though now. I have no clue exactly. Nobody has any idea of what their plans are for 2023 really. As far as if they're going to have like another season update somewhere along the line, or they miraculously are going to make another game. Good news is with Edwards leading all these laps right now, it is helping Kyle Busch in that matter. If Busch could somehow win this race and Bowyer finishes 4th or worse, which I mean as of right now isn't impossible. Busch just does not have the straightaway speed. Crocker going to try to pass Kyle on the outside. She saw Edwards do it a little earlier. Busch really loose getting into turn 1 with Bowyer all over the back bumper of the 5, and Crocker will pass on the outside lane, but Kyle definitely got a lot looser with the 2 car right there. Big block on Bowyer off the exit of turn 2 as he just slid in line between the 6 and the 2 cars. Just trying to get away from Bowyer really. 1.1 seconds off the race lead, back to P3 again. Edwards pulling away for now, but he's about to catch the 131 car on the front stretch, and that lead is closing down big time. Busch to the inside of Crocker into turns 1 and 2. Edwards got held up by the lapper, and Busch is back to the lead in turns 1 and 2. Edwards is still getting held up, so is Crocker now, and Clint Bowyer's up to P2. Busch to the lead, Bowyer to second. Edwards is in third, Crocker fourth. It's going to be another lead change at the line this time, and I believe this will be the third or fourth lap lead of the day for Kyle Busch. Bowyer closing in. Busch definitely doesn't want him to take the lead. It's right on that corner panel, though. It's going to be very tough for Busch to hang on to this race car. Bowyer taking a peek to the outside for now. Both rear tires in the yellow on the tire wear indicator right now for Busch. Keeps the car pinned down to the bottom pretty good that time through 1 and 2. Bowyer's going to use this draft down the back straightaway, trying to get back to the 5 into turns 3 and 4. And we'll see if he tries the outside again. Busch will pretty much give him the outside. He just doesn't want him right on his back bumper. Being looser on top of the downforce is definitely not helping Kyle Busch in the middle of the corners. Pulls that 1.3 second gap up, though, pretty quickly on Edwards once that lap car got in the way. Now Edwards to the inside of Bowyer for second. Busch to block the 60. Busch got loose, kind of overcorrected just a little bit. Goes up the track, back down to block the 2. On the inside, it's another lap led for Kyle Busch. Stewart drafted on the bottom, but here comes Carl Edwards on the outside trying to take the lead again on the top. He was able to do it earlier. And he's going to do it a second time. That 60 car of Carl Edwards is probably the one to beat today. And again, Busch slides up, trying to keep Bowyer behind him. Of all race cars. Edwards going low into turns 3 and 4. He may be pitting this time, which could give Busch the lead again. That is the case. And he is. So Carl Edwards got a short pit. And Kyle Busch in the 5. Continues on out in front. Potentially 3 wide for the lead. Is Crocker going up the middle between the 2 and the 5? I don't know if she went up the middle or not, but she's going to get to the lead, passing both cars in the span of about a half a lap. What a move by Aaron Crocker to take the lead. Bowyer could not get down to the bottom and clear Busch into turns 3 and 4, so Kyle will stay in front of him. Now Aaron Crocker back out in front for the third different time today. A lot of cars on pit road right now, by the way. Carl Edwards down on the bottom of the track. He'll go a lap down for now. Busch squeezes to the inside. Oh boy, Edwards coming out of the pits. Busch is sideways on the back straightaway. Gets clocked by the 2. Trying to gas it back up to get to the bottom of the track and barely got missed by Shane Meal. Caution's out for the first time today. And the championship leaders are around on the back straightaway. Man, Shane Meal almost just packed it right into the back of the 5 car. Now Busch cannot pit for fuel or tires because of causing that accident there. And that is a tough break for him today if he's going to want to clinch this championship. Because Bowyer's still in the lead lap. This is going to trap Carl Edwards a lap down. Although he'll probably get the free pass. Bowyer was underneath Crocker for the lead, but Edwards was coming out of the pits down on the bottom. So when Busch got loose, he almost turned it into the 60, and then trying to get out of the 60's way, he overcorrected it, and that's when he came back up the racetrack after fishtailing, and Clint Bowyer was there. Just kind of looped it. No heavy impact, luckily. Some cosmetic damage. Busch will be the leader on the restart, but again, he could not pit for fuel or tires because of causing the accident. So we'll go to this restart, lap 52, and Busch will have to pit this time by. Vickers, pretty fast pit stop on pit road. Oh, contact! Oh, we might have another wreck. We might have another wreck. Somehow we didn't. There's cars scattered everywhere. Oh my gosh. 108 out of nowhere just got into the back of Kyle Busch again. Kenny Walls takes the lead. No caution through all that. What a crazy restart. Now the 131 stacking everybody up 3 wide. Busch has to pit this time. And he's coming in. 4 tires and fuel here. No adjustments. Just trying to get this car back out there as soon as possible. Oh my gosh, that was a wild... I mean, Michigan's known for wild restarts, but that was pretty wild. Even for Michigan's sake. Oh, most definitely. Reese Verrett, thanks for tuning in. Why did I not take fuel on the last stop? It's because of the unfair... I don't like there being an unfair advantage when I cause a caution. I try to punish myself for it by not taking fuel or tires, especially if everybody else pits. So, I mean, that's the price I pay. It forces me to have to race clean. Forces me to not have to, obviously, to race clean and just to, I mean, I'll lean on people from time to time. I just can't wreck them. Fortunately, there I end up kind of wrecking myself. So back to 40th is Kyle Busch. Now, Kenny Wallace lost a lot of track position there. There's quite a few cars that got their lap back on the restart because of that stack up initially. So there is a chance Busch could race his way back to the lead lap before we get a potential another caution. That was our first of the race. Problem is, though, we're only 20 laps away from halfway already. Busch really tight into turns 3 and 4 there. Picks up 1 spot on the front stretch. Not sure how many cars exactly are lapped down. So it's going to be very tough to try to figure out who the free pass position car would be for Busch to try to get to. Car is really tight turns 3 and 4 now. I think it's because of damage from the contact with Clint Boyer. Because it was not tight before. It was on the loose side, and now the car's really shoving up the racetrack in traffic behind this lap car in front of us. We're just going to try to pass him in turns 1 and 2. Car's handling fine in turns 1 and 2. It's just 3 and 4 was really tight. First time Kenny Wallace has led today, though, off of this restart. Three wide racing not too far out ahead as well. Middle of turns 1 and 2. Oh, one car got loose in the middle of that. Held on to it. Handles well enough through turns 3 and 4 to make a pass for position up to 38. 3 wide again in turns 3 and 4 in front of the 8 of Mark Truex Jr. $16 likes on the stream. Appreciate everybody smashing that like button today. Again, subscribe if you haven't already. And also hit the like button again for more daily NASCAR content. 4 wide off the exit of turn 2 to the outside of Kyle Busch. And they made it. It's the second time we've seen 4 wide today. Busch is trying to be a little extra aggressive here, trying to get as many spots back as possible. Trying to potentially race his way back onto the lead lap in case we get a late caution. Everybody still has to pit one more time in this race as well yet. I guess technically he's got a couple lap fresher tires than everybody else. I don't think it's going to make too much of a difference. But oh, there's some contact. Almost into the wall off the exit of turn 2. He's definitely pushing it. Gotta make sure not to cause another accident and lose all the track position he has been gaining here recently. But it's up to 36 now. Good thing we have a massive points lead. Bad news is our average finish could go down exponentially. 4.8 coming into this race today. Just 3 finishes outside the top 10. I was in this situation at IRP and ended up coming back. Finished like 6th or something like that. So, I mean, it's not impossible to get a good finish out of the day still. Kenny Walsh making his way through a lot of this traffic right now. He's got an underratedly pretty quick race car. Edwards probably has the fastest car today, though he is at the tail end of the lead lap. He got his lap back on the restart because he was the first car to line up on the bottom, which were all the lap cars on that last restart. Busch spinning his tires. Being on the older tires kind of held everybody up. The field's starting to close in on the 131 car. This is going to get interesting. One car making contact with another in the middle of turns 1 and 2. Went all the way up towards the outside. 52 trying to block Kyle Busch all the way on the bottom lane through the corner. And this field is going to get all sorts of wadded up right now in that outside lane with the 131 car slowing a lot of cars up. And look at all the positions Busch got. He passes 4 cars for position on the backstretch into turn 3. Moves him up to 32nd. Problem is, though, he may not be able to keep up with the cars in front of him to try to stay in the draft. Halfway home in today's race. I don't have a trivia question for you guys today, so I apologize for that. 3 wide again off turn 2. Jamie McMurray in the middle. This guy's racing that aggressively, though. It's going to allow Busch to catch up to him. And now he's got some drafting help. Massive run right now. Has to lift a little early into turns 1 and 2 to try to keep it off the 64 of McMurray. Busch just gets to the inside of Jamie Mack. That's a pass for position as well. Up to 31st now is Kyle Busch. Passes another lead lap car, Brad Miller. Trying to get some draft off the 112 is the next car in front of him. Busch's car is pretty good in the middle of the run. I mean, he qualified 11th, drove himself up to the lead for a reason. It's just once we get into the like 30, 35 lap mark, it really starts to fall off and get loose at that point. So it's very crucial for us to get as much of this track position as we can now. We've only had about 12 laps on our tires. We pitted at lap 52, so still relatively early in this run, and that's why Busch is able to pick these guys up and put them down. That's not going to help the tires, though. That contact right there definitely hurt him a little bit. That may make those tires wear out a little bit earlier than what he would have liked. That wasn't even for position either. There's been times he's definitely pushed a little bit too hard today. He has to start dialing it back off just a hair. Problem is, he's passed a bunch of cars, but so is Kenny Wallace. He's almost lapped all the lap cars who got back on the lead lap on the restart. Maybe a select few that hasn't. You'd have to imagine he's pulling away with his race lead on top of it right now as well. Still going to be closing in on the 131 car again pretty soon here. Probably catching him every 8 to 10 laps. Busch passed 4 cars for position the last time it happened, on top of a lot of lap cars as well. 16 likes on the stream. Be sure to hit the like button, subscribe for more daily NASCAR content again if you haven't already. Live realistic commentary coverage here on this NASCAR video game side of things today. Which is not close enough to keep up in the draft with these guys. He's really hoping the 131 is going to bog down enough cars that he can not only pass some, but hopefully get back into the draft with some of these cars as well. Three wide in the middle of 3 and 4. I'm starting to wonder if the 131 car may have pulled off the track again. I feel like we would have caught him by now. There's a car way out in front of Kenny Walls on the track map, but they've been kind of consistently that far. Which leads me to believe that that's probably the 60 of Carl Edwards. And again, 3 wide. I mean, it could be holding these guys up enough to help Kyle Busch try to catch back up to some cars to draft with, but that would be about the only thing it is helping him in any way. So, I mean, if caution came out now, I doubt he's the first car a lap down, so he'd still be a lap down on the restart. You almost wonder if you pit, even though you'd be giving up more track position again, in the hopes of maybe there's a chance you make it on fuel to the end of the race. It'd be tough, though, because you wouldn't really be able to save. Because by the time the leaders would cycle off of their green flag pit stop, you're not going to have the lead by a whole lot. They'll have some fresher tires too, on top of it. You know how poor Kyle Busch's car is handling on the long run, as it is. Let alone if he's going to have older tires versus everybody else. It's going to be tough to hold him off, even if he does have enough fuel to make it to the end. I'm curious if Clint Boyer's outside the top 3. Because if he is, it'd be a shame Busch doesn't capitalize with a win. Now, Busch has won 3 races in a row coming in, so it's very difficult to win 4 races consecutively. Done it before, but it is not easy. Again, this is one of the worst intermediates for myself on this game for me. 2-mile tracks here in California, I just never get the handling right. I feel like I have enough downforce in it, but if I put too much in it, I'm not fast enough on the straightaways to keep up with anybody. Gotta have that mixture of being on the edge, still have enough stability to be able to make it last the whole run, which was unable to do so in that first run, and that's why he's a lap down in 31st. Got a couple cars pitting off turn 4 here. Fuel window may be open to make it to the end of the race now. So we've got some cars short pitting. I'll definitely pit then if caution comes out. Problem is everybody else will probably end up pitting too, so it's not really going to help Busch. I do think that 131 car pulled off the track, by the way. Couple cars moving down towards the inside into turns 3 and 4. I think they may be pitting as well. 3 wide right in front of Kyle Busch. Expecting the 103 to pit. He does not pit. He just decided to make a bold move. It was weird the way him and the 10 pulled off to the inside in the middle of the back straightaway like they were signaling that they were going to pit this time. They were just trying to make aggressive moves. Busch to 23rd. Some of the cars that were coming off a pit road that he's passed for position that were both on his lap and a lap ahead. Aaron Crocker short pitted in the 6 car, trying to find a way to catch up to the 22 of Kenny Wallace somehow. She thinks that may be the best opportunity to do so. So we definitely know she's a lap down. Again, not sure who the first car lap down would be for Kyle Busch to try to catch for the free pass position. Busch, way up the track. I thought he was going to clip the back bumper of the 57, but he did not. That would have been his teammate. That would have been terrible. Those two would have both wrecked. I think Vickers has at least rallied to get back in the top 10. I don't think he's led a lap still today. Despite qualifying on the pole. Vickers side drafting his teammate a little bit. Busch wanted to clear, but he wasn't quite clear. Vickers still in the lead lap. So he hasn't pit yet. No Crocker is already pit. Busch got by Crocker for position. Mayfield, or sorry, Casey Kane rather, still in the lead lap. Oh, that is Jeremy Mayfield, 79. Keep forgetting he's got the red car when he drives the 79 in the Busch Series, and when Kane's in it, it's like a white and black car. For some reason, I always think it's the other way around. Yeah, so halfway on fuel, lap 78 right now for Kyle Busch. Wow. Can't believe the car got that loose going into turn 3 this early in the run yet. I think him having that little bit of a moment about 12 to 15 laps into the run might have had him have this car loosen up even quicker on the longer run because the rear tires are fading quicker. That just having to pass as many cars as he has, he's definitely been working his equipment a lot more now than any other point in this race so far. Really hoping we were going to catch the 131 car a few more times during this run at least. Try to slow up Kenny Wallace some, but I think he did pull back off the racetrack a second time. Because we have not caught him since about 8 laps or so after the restart. And we're already close to 30 laps into this run. We're going to get passed. I'm not sure who that is that just passed him. Maybe one of the fantasy drivers. Busch down low under the 138, trying to side draft. Trying to stay underneath. He turns 1 and 2, and he will stay to the inside. And it's like Busch's going to complete the pass on that lead lap car. Elliott Sadler in the 90, by the way, is who Boyer's battling with right now. I haven't really seen Sadler much in the Busch Series. I don't feel like we have, at least. Kind of been a non-factor despite the fact that he's doing so good in our Cup Series season. Finished third in points. Crisscross it back and forth with Boyer. Into the inside. Busch definitely going to follow the 90. It's another position backwards for the 2. Unless Sadler's on the same lap Busch is, which could be possible. There's quite a bit of damage on the front of that 2 car still. You could just see Busch's car struggling on entry into the corner. Started tight at the very beginning of this run, now it's really loose. Contact between Busch and Sadler. Slowing both cars down a bit. .131 ordered to, but yeah, they probably black flagged him. Failing to make minimum speed. They don't do that in this game, I don't believe. You usually see slow cars riding around from time to time, but maybe they did this time. Maybe that was the last straw from the EA Sports officials. Like, nope, that's it. We've seen enough. I mean, he did cost the leaders a lot of time. A couple occasions. Including myself. The one time I got into the back of him. Thought he was going to stay low, and I went high, and I got into him. Was able to clear him eventually, but definitely took a minute. .40 laps to go this time by, well, about 39 technically, because Busch is a lap down. I mean, the only other thing I could do when we hit our pit stop is I take 2 tires. I mean, it's risky with how loose the car is going to be, but just trying to jump ahead of Kenny Wallace just to get back on the lead lap and then hope for a late caution. It's kind of what I was thinking. And then we can pit for 4 tires that way. I mean, it's a risky decision, but you really don't have anything to lose when you're a lap down and you have a massive points lead the way Busch does. It may be different if down to this 5th to last race of the season we did have a mass points lead. We're definitely in a position that we're more than likely going to lose points to Clint Boyer in quite a few. It's going to make it tough for us to clinch at Watkins Glen in the next race, too. I mean, this is giving Boyer a little bit of life. Problem is, he's going to kind of need these performances out of Kyle Busch the rest of the season. I just don't see that happening with how strong we've been all year. Watkins Glen's going to be chaotic. It always is on this game. Every time we go there, we have a bunch of cautions. Typically in the bus stop, AI tend to wreck a lot. Let's just kind of staying behind Sadler. Scared to get in front of him and then get aero loose this late in the run behind the 90, so he's just going to stay behind him. Seems to be a little bit quicker that way in the draft too on these straightaways. This will be the first win of the year for Kenny Wallace. To be our 11th different winner if he holds on to win. He's going to end up leading the most laps, honestly. Leading as much as he has since this restart. He's led every lap since the restart. At lap 52. Edwards led a lot before the caution, but the short pitting and having so many lead changes in the early going with Crocker, Tony Stewart, obviously Edwards, yeah, but Clint Boyer, Kyle Busch all leading. Various different times, too, for all but Stewart at least. Out of that bunch. So this is going to be interesting now because Busch may get arrow loose when he has a car behind him. They're catching up to more cars. He's going to have to be a little bit more aggressive trying to make some passes. Just going to follow Elliott Sadler to get by John Hamilton. Hamilton hasn't pit yet. Busch to the inside of Sadler, trying to side draft the 90. Right rear tire starting to really wear out. Into the yellow on that tire wear indicator. Sadler looking to get to the inside of Shane Meal in turns 1 and 2. Quarter tank of gas left at this point in the run for Busch to the inside of Meal. Back straightaway. That's for position 21st as he passes Meal. And not sure if Sadler's for a spot or not. Busch way up the track, got tight that time in the dirty air behind Sadler. Meal trying to cross it back over. Busch getting loose off the exit of the corner. And now down to block Meal. Busch's car getting arrow loose with the 32 behind him. Hanging on to it. Big save by Kyle Busch. Meal never touched him, but the air got taken off the rear spoiler of the 5. That's what I was... Oh, we got a crash! Hard crash right in front of the leaders. Down to the bottom of the track. Oh, man. I think Busch missed it. John Hamilton got clipped, though. 2 cars in the wall, causing our second yellow of the day. Yeah, Hamilton just clipped. I think it was J.J. Yaley and Marvin Sheth. But we just missed that. To the inside. Kyle Busch, you lucky dog. Everybody's going to be good on fuel to make it to the end now, so might as well pit for 4 tires. Crypto, welcome in. That's going to trap quite a few other cars a lap down that's short pitted, though. Like Eric Crocker and a bunch of others. I don't believe we were in the free pass position, though. I don't know if Sadler... I still think there were more cars ahead of Sadler that were a lap down, too. Now, the good news is we don't have to go a full run to the end, so I trust that this car could be all right. But a 3-car crash, bringing out our second caution of the day. Weren't quite back on the lead lap. I mean, we were closing on the leaders, but we weren't quite there yet. We were still a few seconds behind them, and I don't even know if we would have caught them or not by the end of the fuel run anyway. We were getting pretty close to the end there. It seems as if Kyle Busch lost a lot of spots on pit road. Oh my gosh, you got a wreck coming out of the pits. They were 3 wide. Yaley about got turned again. He was just involved in that crash. He was a lap down too because he scored right in front of us. Not sure how it started, but we saw how it ended. And Kenny Wallace lost a bunch of spots on pit road. Eric Crocker going to be the leader on the restart. Green flag back in the air. I thought she was a lap down. I'm a little bit confused at how she's leading, but one way or another, she's out in front. A 3 wide right in front of Busch. Who knows, maybe we get another caution before the end of this race today. I'm hoping, but gotta hope that Busch is going to be on the lead lap first. And they are 3 by 3 at the very front of the pack. Contact, now they're 4 wide in the middle of turns 3 and 4. That's going to stack everybody up. Busch on the bottom lane trying to get by as many cars as possible. 28 laps to go. Kenny Wallace, you can bet he's digging, trying to get back to the lead. The 119 out in front. Bit of a checkup on that outside lane off turn 2, 3 wide. McMurray and Miller to the outside of Busch going into turn 3. Big dive by Busch, slides up in front of a few cars. Back inside the top 25 as he's up to 24th off the exit of turn 4. Darth Vader rules Star Wars, thanks for tuning in. 119 is the leader. Kenny Walsh trying to get back. What a restart by Walsh. Restarted about 6th or 7th. He's already up to 2nd. He's got fresher tires on a lot of those cars that stayed out. The Kyle Busch in 23rd is so close to getting back on the lead lap right now. Crocker gonna take it 3 wide for the lead on the bottom. Kenny Wallace up the middle. The 119 lost the lead. Busch is on the inside. He wants to get his lap back. Side by side for the lead between Aaron Crocker. He's trying to win her 2nd race of the year at Kenny Wallace. 38.874. Fastest lap of the day for Kyle Busch that last lap. He's the first car a lap down. But he'll get to the inside of Aaron Crocker here. Contact. Busch clear. And he's back on the lead lap. Contact. Somewhere back there. I think Aaron Crocker and Kenny Walsh might have gotten together because the 119's clear and back in the lead again. I don't know who that is in the 119 car, but he's leading. And he's only got 26 laps to go at Michigan. Busch trying to hold everybody off in case we get a late caution. But with the 119 back to the inside, it's going to put Kyle Busch a lap down again off the exit of turn 2. Got to run in the draft, 4 cars on the outside, then the inside right there. Gets just in front of the 119, a crossover into turns 3 and 4, again back on the lead lap. Down to the bottom. Door to door for the lead. 25 laps to go at Michigan. Busch just does not have the straightaway speed. He's not going to be able to pull away from these guys even with the clean air as long as they stay in the draft. The more they battle with each other, maybe the better it is for Busch. Out of his rear view, Marvin Sheth trying to get back in contention after just crashing to take the race lead. Away from Kenny Wallace if he is on the lead lap, and I believe he is. Sheth back out in front. If he wants to wreck again, he can go right ahead. Get me back into this thing. We'd have to restart at the tail end of the field on the next restart, but be able to pit, take fresher tires though too. I may make an air pressure adjustment if that is the situation, which would make the car even looser, but would be in a terrible situation here. I mean, we've gotten back on the lead lap from 1 lap down, but I just don't know if we're going to get another caution. That second yellow just came out a little too early before we got our lap back, or we got in the free pass position. I mean, Busch isn't going to be getting air loose from now to the end of the race. He's not going to put enough laps on his tires. It's just a matter of him extremely trying to hold on right now. Some major blocks. I can't tell if that's Clint Boyer or Carl Edwards starting to close that gap just a little bit as well. Busch doing all sorts of blocking on the straightaways right now. Marvin Sheth going to the outside, trying to take the lead. The only guy that was able to do that today was Carl Edwards. He did it a couple times. I wonder if he's... Yeah, I think Edwards should be on the lead lap again. I wonder if that's him trying to drive up to Kenny Wallace and Marvin Sheth. If he recovers from a lap down to win this race, that'd be a heck of a drive by Carl Edwards. He's trying to do what we're doing right now, which was race his way back to the lead lap. He did that before the last caution, because the first caution trapped him a lap down like it did with us. various ways, but same circumstance. We just couldn't get back on the lead lap the last time. He did. And I believe he is battling Aaron Crocker for third right now. Crocker just crossed him back over. He's got a fast car, probably the fastest in the race. Even if he doesn't go down to lead the most laps because of Kenny Wallace leading a lot in the middle. This will be interesting. We haven't alternated through any of the camera angles yet today. No field passes yet. We'll be doing all that in the final 20 laps while we're waiting for a caution at the front of the field. Big block to the top and then back to the bottom into the middle of turns 1 and 2. Probably a different type of engine. Probably slightly more horsepower. Restrictor plate 2 wound the engine down versus now it's tapered spacers. Could have just been the sound effects at that time too. From the Fox and NBC, whoever was covering the races in the 2000s, 90s, CBS. Kyle Busch is running out of laps because even if we get a caution right now, we'd have less than 15 laps to go. I mean, he still might have a shot at clinching the championship if a caution came out because I'm not sure where Clint Boyer's running. That could be Boyer in third going for second right now, but I'm thinking it's Carl Edwards. If it is Boyer, Busch would like for him not to win. And actually, now that I think about it, it does look like the AC Delco number 2 car of Clint Boyer. And if it is, he's up to second. Might fall back to third. Kenny Wallace battling back again. Marvin Schetz held on to the lead for a little bit now off this restart, but he doesn't have a clean air advantage to try to pull away. Kyle Busch still in front of him. He continues to block him down into turns 3 and 4. Kenny Wallace back into second. And Carl Edwards, by the way, is up to fourth. So that definitely is Clint Boyer in third. Look out for Carl Edwards in the closing laps here. Busch continuously blocking Marvin Schetz. 22 of Kenny Wallace down to the bottom. Looking for the lead. And he's got it. Busch gonna block him. All the way to the inside of the back straightaway as Kyle Busch continues to keep this clean air. And now Schetz gonna try to cross Wallace over in turns 3 and 4. You have Kenny Wallace, who's led the most laps, and then you got the fastest car in the field, Carl Edwards, who's trying to claw his way back into it from fourth right now. Edwards trying to come from a lap down to win, kind of similar to what Busch was able to do at Bristol. Come from a lap down to beat Edwards, only today it's Edwards coming from a lap down. Busch is barely on the lead lap. He's not leading this race, but he's leading the pack. I mean, the bright side, even if we finish 22nd in this position, get to see the finish of the race. Clint Boyer going for the lead. Side by side, Boyer on the inside. He may be getting a little bit of a draft off the back bumper of the 5 of Kyle Busch now. We'll swap to Brian Vickers in the 57 car next. We get to the start-finish line this time by. There'll be 13 laps to go at Michigan. Boyer stuck on the outside into turns 3 and 4. Chef back out in front. Boyer on the outside of the 22. It's like Carl Edwards is falling back to 5th. And Crocker is back up there for position again. 11th place is where Brian Vickers in the 27 currently runs. He's about 4.1 seconds off the race lead. Vickers hasn't won since the season opener at Daytona. Drafting help in front of Vickers to try to help him out right now either. See if we can at least get him a top 10 finish. Get one of the Hendrick cars to get a top 10 at Michigan today. 39 flat that last lap. Up too much of the apron in turns 1 and 2. Washed up the track. Stays in front of the 79 of Jeremy Mayfield off the exit of the corner. 11 laps to go at the start-finish line this time by. Usually do all this stuff at the beginning of the race. It's weird doing it at the very end. It kind of worked itself out, though, with doing it this way. Oh, man, Busch stuck on the outside. Once Sheth finally got underneath him. Well, Busch is falling a lap down again. Carl Edwards up to 3rd. Elliott Sadler is on the lead lap at 2nd. As we're down to 10 laps to go at Michigan. Get down to about 5 laps left in this race, and we do get a caution. That will end it. We do have a slow car that has blown a motor. Down on the apron. It was already somebody that was behind our driver, Kyle Busch. So that will not be another position. Busch will remain in 22nd place. 9 laps to go, and Carl Edwards going for the lead. What a comeback from a lap down to take the lead. Got another car blowing a motor on the back straightaway now, so back-to-back laps we've seen somebody blow an engine. That's not a position either, unfortunately. And by the way, Clint Boyer isn't in the top 4. So if Busch would have won today's race, he would have clinched the championship, but coulda, woulda, shoulda. He's going to have to try again another day. So he is definitely not going to win it. He's definitely not going to beat Boyer by 21 plus points to be able to get that championship today. Based off of being a lap down right now in 22nd this late in the race. Heck of a battle for the lead. Elliott Sadler out in front for the first time all day, and he's trying to win his first Busch race of the season. He did get 1 cup win on our custom schedule season there. Trying to clinch the championship at Watkins Glen in the next race. Top 5 cars kind of pulling away just a little bit. Boyer trying to stay in the draft with them, but he's just not really able to. More committed with keeping Boyer behind him, though, for right now to make sure Boyer has no chance of catching up. So Sadler leads. 7 laps to go at the line. Busch blocking the 2 all the way to the outside, back to the bottom, down into the corner, and Carl Edwards just fell all the way back to 5th after retaking the lead a couple laps ago. Sadler leading the pack. It's going to be a shame this average finish is going to go down quite a bit. It's going to be tough to break that record now. With 4.6. This is only going to be the 4th finish for Kyle Busch outside the top 10 all year. It just goes to show the incredible season Kevin Harvick had back in 2006. To run the full season and have a 4.6 average finish is absolutely ridiculous. I don't care if he was a Cup regular or not. Caution is out with 5 laps to go. Excuse me, 5 laps left, and we have our 3rd caution of the day. And this may end the race. Trouble in turn 2. John Hamilton has crashed a 2nd time. I think he kept it off the inside wall, but he just got out of control there. He's right behind J.J. Yaley, who was also in the first wreck. The 2nd wreck, sorry. I'm not sure if we're going to get a restart or not here. This will be interesting. Kyle Busch will pit. He was the first car a lap down. Can't lose any positions here. I don't know if this is going to end the race or not, but he definitely can't lose any spots. Busch on his way in. Top off on fuel, 4 tires. Just going to boost that air pressure up 4 PSI as well. I mean, this might be an anticlimactic pit stop because it may end the race. I don't know if we're going to get a restart in. We had 5 laps to go when the caution came out. And I think Elliott Sadler was still in the lead. Actually, it doesn't look like it. I think he scored in 2nd right now. They were definitely side by side. It was tough to tell for sure. Pit road goes Busch. Hoping we get a restart. I don't think we are. What? Maybe? I don't know. Green flag back in the air. Oh yeah, we're definitely getting a restart here. Kenny Wallace leading the field to the green. Oh, we lost positions! We were still scored a lap down, and Busch is in 37th. With 2 laps to go now. Green, white, checker. He's got fresh tires trying to get some spots back here. But oh, that is not good because he just lost 14 spots. Yeah, 14 positions. Elliott Sadler retakes the lead on the restart away from Kenny Wallace. He'll be coming to the white flag this time by. I wasn't even thinking about potentially being a lap down still. I forgot the free passes and awarded with less than 10 laps to go. Oh my gosh. We just lost more points there. That burns, because Clint Boyer's in the top 5 more than likely, unless he lost some spots on the restart. Final lap. I don't know if Busch is going to be close enough to get any of these spots back. Kind of overdrove turns 1 and 2 a little bit. He's got fresher tires. I just don't think he's got enough laps to try to make any of this back up again. Marvin Shett to the lead after wrecking earlier on the backstretch heading into turn 3. He's trying to make a last lap pass for the win. Busch overdriving 3. Oh, we got trouble! Car in the wall! Final lap, it's Brad Miller. He's going to come back down the racetrack. That's another spot. No cautions on the final lap. They race back to the checker at the front of the field. And Marvin Shett is going to get his first win of the Busch Series season. Our 2nd fantasy driver to win this year. His first career win. Not Marvin Shett, that's Luke Trigger. Sorry. Marvin Shett drives the 133 of the Truck Series. Luke Trigger in the Busch Series gets his first career win. And we had another wreck on the final lap. We got 3 points out of that. Clint Boyer fell back. He actually lost about 4 spots on that restart, finished 9th. But he'll still have a shot at the championship going into Watkins Glen next week. 3 cautions for 9 caution laps, 29 lead changes. 1 hour, 40 minutes, and 19 seconds total time on today's race. 1/10 of a second margin of victory, 149.5 miles per hour. Average race speed. I'm glad we missed Miller. I thought more cars were going to get collected when he spun on the final lap. When he spun on the final lap, I thought he was going to clock like the however many cars were in front of us on the way up and down, and it was just going to be pandemonium getting back to the checker for us. But yeah, they raced back to the checker. No cautions on the final lap in this game. So, I mean, they were hundreds of feet away from the finish line anyway. Congrats, though. Trigger led 17 laps. He wrecked. Came back, won. Bobby Labonte finishes second. Elliott Sadler third. Carl Edwards fourth. Probably had the most dominant car, but finished fourth. Led 22 laps. Kenny Wallace led 47 laps. Most of any driver today. Finishes fifth. Joe Smith finishes sixth. I don't even know if it's Joe Smith. It might be Jimmy Smith. I have no clue what his name is. Smith finishes sixth. It's fantasy driver. Martin Truex Jr. seventh. Irvin eighth. Clint Boyer ninth. Led 17 laps also. And Eric Crocker rounds out the top 10. Came from a lap down. Finished in 10th still. 6th place. And I mean, we got back on the lead lap. And then we ended up a lap down again. Vickers ended up 14th from the pole. He didn't lead a lap. Tough day for Hendrick Motorsports. Kyle Busch, he did lead 8 laps today. Finished 36. At least we got that extra spot on Miller on the final lap with him wrecking. I don't know if he got turned or what happened there in the middle of turns 3 and 4. But he was probably a good 10 positions ahead of us. Well, time to see what the damage is and see how much Clint Boyer is able to close in. Now, Brian Vickers is eliminated from championship contention with his 14th place finish today. So, it is down to just Clint Boyer and points leader Kyle Busch right now. 82 laps at the Glen for the Zippo 200 will be the next race. Pull up my calculator real quick. So after Watkins Glen, we have to have a 468-point lead to clinch the championship. We do have the tiebreaker with the most wins, so we have to be 468 points ahead of Clint Boyer, which, if I try to pull up point standings from that season, let me see here. $520 minus 468.52. So as long as Kyle Busch doesn't gain more than 52 points on us, we'll win the championship. 190. So let's say Clint Boyer wins the race, leads the most laps, gets 190 points. We just have to make sure he doesn't beat us by more than 52. So if Boyer wins, leads the most laps, we would have to finish 9th or better. So 9th or better to win the championship at Watkins Glen for us. That is if Boyer leads the most laps, wins the race. Now, if we lead 1 lap at all at Watkins Glen, then we can go on to finish 8th or better and win the championship. And if we end up leading the most laps in that race, then we can end up finishing 7th or better and win the championship. Actually, 6th or better, because technically he wouldn't lead the most laps and we would, so it'd be like a 10-point swing there. So yeah, that's pretty much what we're looking at. We have to finish 9th or better at Watkins Glen to win the championship, so it's doable. Obviously, we're going to have to do better than what we did today at Michigan, but I think it's doable. We did race at Watkins Glen earlier in the season. It was the 4th race of the year, and I finished 4th. Led 27 laps. Tony Stewart won, so it's definitely doable. We can finish 9th. I mean, we finished 4th at the Glen earlier this year. Old Spice Speedway, I finished 1st. Those are the only 2 road races so far this season, so it'll be our 3rd and final road race of the year, and we'll hope for the best. I think we can do it. Thanks for everybody tuning in. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't already. Subscribe for more daily NASCAR content. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Remember, our Throwback Thursday live stream this week will actually be tomorrow night on the channel. We'll be watching an old Auto Club Speedway race. I actually have to check the community tab real quick to see what race we are watching. I believe it is the 2013 Auto Club race. I know it was pretty close for a little bit between 1997 and that, and I noticed a couple hours before the stream started, 2013 was starting to pull away a little bit. So tomorrow we will be watching the 2013 Auto Club 400. 174 votes casted, awesome there. And I think that might be the most voted poll we've had of these classic race live streams coming up. So it'll be a lot of fun. Hope to see a lot of you there. And yeah, so 53% won, or 53% of the vote helped 2013 win. 34% said 1997. That was the inaugural race at Auto Club. That's kind of why I threw that in there, with this potentially being the last race at the 2-mile oval. And then 2011 had 13% of the vote. So we'll be watching 2013. That's my personal favorite Auto Club race, so it'll be a lot of fun. The last 20 laps of that race was some of the greatest racing on an intermediate track you'll ever see, from that late race restart all the way to the checkers. So appreciate it, everybody. I'll see you guys tomorrow night. It'll be a lot of fun. That'll start at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Hope to see you there.